Everyone, I have to be honest, no complaints from me on the result. We deserved that. Arsenal were appalling. The complaints that actually are going to come from me are towards the players, a little bit of the manager as well. I don't think Arteta got everything right today. Um, but I'm not going to sit here. If you're coming here to maybe hear me sort of say, we were harshly done by, it wasn't a red card, the penalty was soft, anything like that, not for me. I'll give you my thoughts on why it was a red card and actually explain it. I'm not going to say it was a red card and just kind of leave you with that. I'll tell you why I think it was and why the referee got that right. And we'll touch on basically everything else that happened in this game. But where I want to start, like I start with all match reports, always at the starting 11. Now, normally I might just sort of run through it and quickly just remind you who played. But in this situation, I do have a question from it. Now, the players for me have to take more blame than Mikel Arteta, right? I don't think they showed any composure. They didn't show any conviction. I don't think they showed real concentration either. And that lies at the players' door. Like, whatever we say at the manager, right? We've seen this manager's been able to get the players going and instill a concentration over a title run in and to get to certain points and get big games, big wins away from home. So we know that this manager can motivate that concentration into his players. We also expect the players to bring that themselves. And I felt today too many of them were lacking and there were too many really sloppy errors. But before I go into them in more detail and really go in on the players, because I do think there's quite a bit we've got to say about them, I just mentioned the 11 there. And I don't think Arteta got it all right, people. I have to say this. I don't think Arteta got everything right on the day. It feels really strange to me to opt for anyone who missed the 11, just a reminder, Raya in goal, White returns, Timber wasn't fit. This Tomiyasu injury is a problem, but let's not. So White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Calafiori at the back three. Then he went with Marino in the absence of an Erdegaard or Trossard was out on the left. So he went with Marino in the kind of right eight with Partey and Rice. He then with Trossard on the left, Sterling on the right, and Havertz up front. Now, part of me thinks that maybe the Martinelli injury, because Marseille was supposedly only fit enough for the bench. We know that he played a little bit of football for Brazil, but barely, and that he had some sort of injury and international break. But did that force him to play Trossard wide on the left so that Marino could come into the 10? I mean, even if it did, why? Why, Mikel? I mean, not only, by the way, I don't think Marino had a bad game. But not only are you looking at three predominantly defensive midfielders in Partey, Rice, and Marino, that's what they offer more than anything. The team, it's what they do in the final, the first and middle third, not the final third. So not only have you kind of weakened us from a creative perspective, but it puts egg on the face of people like me who said that, if Waneri is the player we think he is and Trossard can play in the 10 and, you've still got players in the front three, then our squad actually looks okay. But there have been opportunities to play one area, and he hasn't wanted to do that at all. Now, I've been more forgiving because of Trossard and the form he's been in. But when you're really moving players out of position, look, Trossard moving him into the 10 isn't that out of position, right? He's still playing in the forward line, expected to make things happen in the final third from a central area. But Marino being moved there, watch any breakdown you saw, watch every breakdown back on Marino to Arsenal that me and plenty of other YouTubers did, right? We never mentioned Marino being a number 10 sort of, well, maybe some people did, but I certainly didn't see anyone mention Marino as an understudy to Erdegaard. And so it does, for me, kill my confidence a little bit in how much Mikel Arteta sees Muniri playing a part. And when I've had these debates with Turkish, for example, who said that we're light in the squad, and I've thought we might be, but let's wait and see. This was one of those days where we waited and we saw, and it told us that, yeah, potentially losing one of Vieira or Smith Rowe was a bit of a mistake there, or certainly losing both was, because when push came to shove, he didn't actually want to use the only natural profile heir to Erdegaard in the squad. And that was concerning. You might think I spent too much time talking about that, but that was a real concern for me. I do have to say that. Only thing I'll really say on the manager is that, you know what, let's come back to that. The red card, for me, it's a red. For me, and the reason I think it's a red card is because the rule is that you've denied a goal scoring opportunity, not that you've denied a goal. Now, does Elvin Nilsson score if Saliba doesn't make that tackle? I actually don't think so. I think he's got a long way to go. I think it's 50-50 whether he beats Raya from, whether he beats Raya in that situation. I think Saliba can probably recover. I think White can recover. But that's not the point. It was an opportunity. Raya was retreating to goal. Evan Nilsson was getting that ball. and Saliba brought him down. And I've seen a lot of people complaining about Trossard because what's happened is, I should have explained this, but Trossard has punched the ball back. I think he's trying to go back to the defence to restart the build-up, but he's gone beyond them, and Evan Nilsson's trying to run through, and Saliba sort of grabs the bit of the arm maybe, or there's a tangle of legs, can't quite tell, but body-to-body contact, and Evan Nilsson goes down. And for me, I know people will complain about Trossard, and I've got complaints about Trossard. I thought that was appalling from Trossard, a really poor pass. What is Saliba doing, people? What is he doing? I know we love him and we're desperate for him not to move to Real Madrid. And I know that he's been immense for us for 2 and a bit seasons now. He's been almost faultless. And for that, it means you don't drop him when he's next available. It means you don't tear him a new one, sure. But you critique the error fairly. It's his error. It's his fault. I've seen some people online saying, Trossard put him in that situation. No, yes, Trossard put him in a situation where he's running back towards goal. He doesn't have to commit the foul there. If it's a tangling or a coming together, I'd feel more sympathetic. But he's fouled him. He's brought him down. I think he's rolled the dice and hoped he's going to come out with a yellow card. The referee saw it as a yellow at first, but VAR got involved. I think it can go either way. I'm sure we'll see ones like that this season or have done in previous seasons that weren't given as reds. But this one was, and I can see why it was. So no complaints from me. Really, really stupid from William Saliba. Really stupid. But what worries me is that Arsenal, throughout this first half, because the red card's kind of the only thing to talk about, throughout this half, Arsenal, you were just noticing things that I felt we'd left in 2023. So David Raya trying to play a ball into Marino through the lines that clearly wasn't on. Saliba makes that error. Kivior, we'll talk about the penalty and the second goal, but Kivior attempts it's just a really poor pass. Raya then brings the guy down. Maybe Raya can't really do much more from there. There's a cross into the box in the second half that Raya flapped at. Raya went back to early last season, Raya. He's been immense all season, probably our player of the season, but he was, I put Saka above him, but he's up there, Raya. And today he was poor. And it just felt like there were errors galore. Lots of giving the ball away, lots of just hoofing the ball up the pitch. We looked so amateurish today. And I think it's a red card. Now, I've sort of been talking for a little while, so the other big thing I just want to talk about before I rattle through everything else really quickly is I think Arsenal are out of possession with 10 men, one of the best teams in the world. I think we are very good at digging deep, getting into a shape. I think we're good at that with 11 men. I think we can be very difficult to beat, even when we've only got 10. Didn't prove the case today, but we've seen plenty of examples of it over the years with Mikel Arteta. I think with in possession, and down to 10 men, we might be one of the worst. Certainly at the level we should be. I tweeted that I still expect us to win this game. That doesn't mean I thought we were going to win this game because my eyes were telling me how poorly we were playing, but I expected to. That's the expectation. Bournemouth are a good side, but the expectation is not that we crumble and can't ask a single question on their goal. That's what's really concerning. And actually, that's not true. We did ask a question, Martinelli, and I'll get to that. But Arsenal could never have even a moment of sustained possession around their penalty area. We couldn't hit the channels. We couldn't hit the flanks. We couldn't do anything remotely kind of inventive, or we couldn't even make the game a bit lively or frantic, even at 1-0 down, just to let them know we're in this. And that's so disappointing. Now, our biggest chance actually came at 0-0. I think Havertz presses well. Marino then wins the ball back from the press, and it's a lovely sort of touch and little skill, rolls it into Martinelli, and Martinelli should score, and Marino should have an assist. It's poor from Martinelli. He was just called upon, maybe sort of 7-8 minutes before that he came on, and maybe you can forgive him a little bit for that. But to be honest, a player of his quality should be bearing that. That's my honest opinion. But while we've talked about some players like Saliba, like Martinelli, because of, and Kivior and Raya, because of the moments they had that, could have made it a different game for Arsenal. Let's be completely fair. No one was really at the races today. I think Declan Rice put himself about. I thought Partey was having a really good first 30 minutes. And then second half, he tried, but it was a struggle for most people. But what I didn't see was anyone put their foot on the ball and just go, yes, we're down to 10 men, but we can still be dangerous here. I'm not expecting us to have all the ball. I'm not expecting us to pepper their goal and come out with 15 shots on goal. But I'm expecting us to have done something that made Bournemouth stop and go, okay, there's still a threat here. And it felt like, even though, and I don't want to take anything from Bournemouth because they just beat Arsenal 2-0. It's a very good result and they deserved it, don't get me wrong. But I didn't even think like they were killing us. I didn't even feel like they were just really putting us under pressure to the point at which we cracked. I just felt like the red card and the Raya pass should have been a moment for us to wake up and go, okay, let's settle. No more silly mistakes. And we might come out of this with a clean sheet and a draw. And we might nick a win. And we might even take a point, for our efforts. Something I said in the Goonerverse podcast we need to be better at. Taking a point when we've had a bad day and going, all right, we've had a bad day. It's not going well for us. Just take the point, put the point on the board and on we go. That's what City do. They have a bad day, they put a point on the board and they get on with their lives. But we have a bad day and it's, well, we're leaving with nothing. And that's also what cost us the title last season, not being able to pick something up when we were having a bad day. Where was I? I felt that back a few sentences ago, I just felt that after the early mistakes in the first half, Arsenal should have dig deep, got organised, said no more silly errors, but we didn't. We continued to make them, and we thoroughly deserve our defeat because of that, and because Bournemouth had the better chances and were causing us problems. The Christie goal, look, it's actually well worked from a set piece. I think you can concede that with 11 men, but it's frustrating. And then the second goal, Kivior makes an error and Raya, what's he doing? I will end on this, though. I will end on this. No Premier League team in... I'm trying to think of a team in Premier League history. I mean, you can go to the Centurions, only ever lost 2 games. Look at Liverpool when they won the title. They lost 3-0 at Watford. I don't think any team has ever won the league without having a really bad day. We've had our really bad day. We might have more. If we have too many, we won't win the league. We've had a really bad day. Dig deep. Where this hurts is that you want to be able to bounce back immediately, but your upcoming games are Liverpool at home, Newcastle. I think it's Newcastle away, then Chelsea away. That's in the league. And of course, we've got Shakhtar, Inter, and Preston. But Arsenal have to dig deep and they have to come away with basically 3 wins. But we can debate that another day, see how other results go. But Arsenal had a really bad day today. They had a really bad day. And like I said, not all is lost. No, the title wasn't lost today. But it's a game where I fear we may look back on and go, why couldn't we had that big chance and it was 0-0 at 10 men. Why couldn't we have just dug deep and come away with something? And I hope we don't end the season thinking that way. But overall, I'm critical of Arteta a bit today, but he doesn't ask players to get sent off and make these errors. And I'm certainly critical of some of the individuals who, and as a collective, and you know what, they're a team, so let's address them as a team. Composure, concentration, and there was one more. Conviction. We lacked conviction in anything we did. That was all missing. And in the Premier League, you get punished if you're missing certainly all 3 of those things, let alone one of them. Everyone, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Really disappointing. Sorry I couldn't bring you a happier match report. Arsenal have ruined my birthday. Well done. No, they haven't. Look, bigger things in life, eh? Try and enjoy the rest of your weekends. And there's a game on Tuesday to bounce back. And Liverpool, tricky game, but that is an opportunity to bounce back. Catch you in a bit, everyone.